Welcome back. We're here to talk about Sunday's Premier League match between Southampton and Norwich. Start with the home side, so impressive last season, but still looking for their first win of this campaign.
Yeah, they're in the bottom three, aren't they? 18th place, like you say, still looking for that first win. And last time out in the league, they go to Watford, and it's not the easiest game. Watford away. Watford they've had a fairly solid start to the season. They're still looking for their first win as well. But to not score, again on the road. That's 2 games in a row now they haven't scored. Losing that home defeat to Everton was really crushing because they started the game okay, but then losing 3-0 at home, disappointing. But against Watford, it was a bit of a nothing game really, a game of very few chances, and if anything, Watford did have the better chances. But I think you could see both managers at the end. You could just see they sort of shook hands, and you could tell they were probably saying fair point. That was an okay result for them, but. Yeah, like you say, so good last season, getting 7th place. They could have easily finished 5th if they'd sort of just finished the season a little better. But 18th at the moment, it has been a really, really tough start for them. They had a blow in that Watford game, losing Mane to injury in the first half because he's had quite a slow start to the season as well. And now he's gone off, and he's now a doubt for this game. But if he's not there, like I said, they've struggled to score goals. So without him, Pella hasn't quite found the form yet either. So there is problems for them at the moment, and they'll certainly want to get their first win.
Yeah, Coleman was very eager to look at the positives, wasn't he, after that game? He's mentioned their first clean sheet of the season, which was important to get, considering at the second only Chelsea conceded fewer goals last season. Their success was built on a really strong defence. Attacking wise, you mentioned their problems, but if they're looking at bringing Virgil van Dijk in from Celtic, I think their hopes of getting him were given a boost when Celtic lost against Malmo, got knocked out of the Champions League. I think if Celtic had been in the Champions League, Van Dijk might have been able to be persuaded to stay, but he's a standout performer for Celtic. It'd be interesting to see, as it always is with people coming down from Scotland, how they adapt to the Premier League. But I think he's got all the physical attributes to succeed in the Premier League. I think he'd be a good signing for Southampton side. We know they've lost so many key players over the last 2 seasons. They did really well to bounce back from it last season. Perhaps you can't afford to do that 2 seasons in a row. We'll see throughout the rest of the campaign, but it's certainly been a tough start for Southampton. I think this game in particular, they'll be desperate to bounce back at home because that 3-0 defeat to Everton, as you mentioned, it was a big shock with people expecting Southampton, who was so impressive at home last season. Only Chelsea conceded more home goals as well, but Southampton, I think they conceded 13 home goals last season, already conceded 3 in 1 game this time, so they'll be really keen to bounce back in front of their own fans here.
Certainly will do. And at the start of the season, they would have thought, right, they might have looked at this one and said Norwich at home should be a fairly easy one, but not at all the way Norwich have started the season. Lost on the opening day to Palace, then got that win at Sunderland it was, and then the draw at home to Stoke last time out. And when you look back at all 3 games, they did win at Sunderland, but the other 2, they could have easily won all 3 games. I think against Palace, they for the most part of that, they were the better team than Palace. They had that disallowed goal and penalty not given as well, so that could have easily gone in their favour. And then last time out against Stoke, but for a virtuoso performance from Jack Butland, they would have won that game. Some of the saves he made were absolutely brilliant. Norwich, they've really impressed me, to be fair. I thought they've gone up with pretty much the same squad as last year from the Championship. The playoff winners are the lowest finishers of the 3 Championship sides, and they've struggled to really sign players so far this summer, but they're playing some really exciting football. You have to say Alex Neil, only 33 years old, the manager, but he's got them playing really well. And in midweek as well, they went to Rotherham in the Cup and won there. I think they were quite fortunate there, whereas at the weekend Butland sort of stopped them winning. The Norwich keeper really played well against Rotherham, Declan Rudd. But they're through to the next round there, playing well in the league, and at the moment it looks really good. They're 8th in the table.
Yeah, and it was Ricky van Wolfswinkel who got the goal in midweek, and if they can get him firing on all cylinders, it'll be like a new signing for them, because it never happened for him in his first spell there before going out on loan to Lisbon. Only got 1 goal. I think that was on the opening day of the season as well. It just didn't happen for him, and if they obviously brought him in for a lot of money, they saw something in him. If he can get a few goals, it'd be a huge boost for them. Even if he doesn't, they're obviously in for a new striker at the moment. Big money offer put in for Benik Afobe, who's really impressed in the Championship since his move to Wolves. That would be a good signing. It looks like he's got the attributes to succeed in the Premier League, so it'd be interesting to see how he does there. I think they've got a lot of good providers. Redmond's really impressed me so far this season. Brady's got superb delivery, but Redmond's been the standout player for Norwich so far, and if he can carry on that form and they bring in a goal scorer to put those crosses into the back of the net, then they'll start picking up wins in those games that you mentioned that they should have been winning so far.
Yeah, I think I've seen them linked with Glenn Murray as well. I think if they get either, I think Murray's still a decent Premier League striker. I know Bournemouth have been linked with him as well, but I mean, Afobe is 14 million. I think the Wolves want for him, and that is a lot of money for a striker who cost just 2 million in January. But like you say, he has been really impressive for Wolves, and I think certainly they probably need that extra striker. Like you say, great. They've got some great suppliers there, but if they do get a new striker in, I think there'll certainly be some leaving. Lewis Grabban. There was the story about him in midweek. He, against Rotherham, I think he would have been expecting to play in the Capital One Cup against a Championship side, and he was named as a substitute, and then apparently stormed out of the hotel, just went AWOL. I think he was really angry. So you'd expect him to now leave the club if he goes. And I see Gary Hooper's been linked with Sheffield Wednesday as well, and you think that if both of them go, it wouldn't be so big a loss. But you think, if both of those do go, they certainly need to get another striker in, because say injuries happen, Jerome gets injured, they might struggle. But I think certainly a Phobie or Glenmurray would be an upgrade on Grabban and Hooper, who don't really seem like Premier League strikers to me.
So they probably deserve more than they got so far. Do you see them getting anything out of this one?
I don't, to be honest. I think Southampton, back at home, I think against Everton in their last home game, they did start the game quite well. They could have been in front, and then Everton hit them on the counter. The game just went away from them after that. But I think here, in a game where they probably should have more control, Norwich will be dangerous on the counter as well, but I think Southampton probably just edged this one 2-1.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Norwich have shown enough signs that they can cause Southampton problems, but Southampton are due a good performance, especially at home, where they were so impressive last season. So I'm going to agree with that 2-1. So both going for 2-1 victories there. Thanks for joining us.